There are some things that we do consciously. There are some things in our system that just happen without us having to specifically even think about it. The classic example is breathing. It's not that I have to remember to breathe, because automatically our body knows that it has to breathe. Same thing with our heart beating. So, we know that the heart has to beat, and it does beat normally without us directing it or specifically wanting it to beat. So, why does this happen and what controls it? The main thing is there are certain areas in our brain that control these functions that automatically happen or spontaneously happen. And if there is any issues with that, if the brain either loses control or for any other reason, if these functions do not happen as they should, then it can lead to significant problems. Now, why am I saying all this? Because we mentioned about the word sleep apnea, and I mentioned that one of the most important reasons why sleep apnea happens is because of obstruction, where what is happening is the air that we are trying to breathe is not freely flowing into the lung, but we are still attempting to breathe against a closing passage. That is what we call obstructive sleep apnea, where our chest and abdomen are still trying to move, trying to fight against this obstruction, and that is the reason why when we completely stop breathing because of a full obstruction, there is a choking sensation, and we try to release the obstruction and we start breathing again. So, by this I mean, when we are dealing with an obstructive, whether it is an apnea or a hypopnea where we are slowing, what is happening is that there is no flow or reduced flow of air through your nose and the upper airways, but the chest and abdomen are still trying to move, because they are trying to fight this obstruction and try to start breathing normally. Now, think of another situation. If for any reason the brain does not tell you to breathe, what is going to happen? Your chest wall will not move, your abdomen will not move during the normal breathing, and there will be no flow of air through your nose or through the upper air passages, and this is what we call as central apnea or central hypopnea if the breathing is just slowed and not completely stopped. So, just to clarify the difference, in a central apnea, what is happening is there is no airflow and there is no breathing. So, there is no movement of the chest and there is no movement of the abdomen. So, that is what we call a central apnea, whereas in an obstructive apnea, what is happening is there is no airflow, but the chest and abdomen are still trying to move, trying to open the air passage and therefore resume normal breathing. Now, can the two happen together? Certainly yes, there could be moments when we are initially having a complete cessation of breathing and no airflow, but then subsequently this could also be followed by some moments when there is reduced airflow or absence of airflow, but the chest and abdomen start moving and try to open up the air passage, and this is what we call a mixed apnea. So, there could be a central apnea or an obstructive apnea, or if the two are happening together during the same event, then we call it a mixed apnea. Now, the one thing we should remember is when we are looking at these apneas or hypopneas or any one of these in a sleep study, then we want to make sure that these are events that are lasting at least 10 seconds, particularly in an adult, or at least 6 seconds in a child. So, these are not very short events, these are slightly longer or at least lasting a few seconds, but sometimes these events could even last much longer. I am talking about 30 seconds or more, or even more than a minute sometime. So, we can actually measure how long these apneas are happening. Now, when central apneas happen, it is usually due to some problem relating to the brain, most commonly with strokes or due to brain tumors or something else that is happening in the brain. But there are a few situations that are not related to the brain, but can be associated with central apneas, and the classic example is long standing what we call heart failure, long standing heart failure or chronic heart failure, where the heart muscles are not pumping as efficiently, are not functioning as efficiently, and lot of people may have heard the term ejection fraction, where the heart is trying to pump, eject blood to the rest of the system, and if that percentage or blood that is ejected is very low, for example less than 40% or less than 30%, then the heart function is reduced, and that condition can also be associated with central apneas. Now, there is a situation where what happens is somebody starts breathing fairly slowly and then can start taking a deep breath and then starts slowing down again and then has a pause or completely stops breathing with no airflow. Almost looks like something like a spindle. Now, if this happens frequently, then we develop what is called a Cheyne-Stokes respiration. By that I mean that here is a person who, if you observe them when they are sleeping, what you would find is that gradually their breathing, which is initially slow, starts picking up, becomes slightly faster and deeper in breathing. Then once again it starts slowing down and the depth of the breathing can come down, and then there could be moments when they completely stop breathing. So, this is a pattern that you observe over a period of time, and if you observe this, it is called Cheyne-Stokes respiration, often associated once again with long standing heart problem, heart failure, where the heart muscle isn't pumping adequately, and also with stroke. So, remember, although we use the term apneas for stopping breathing, it could be due to obstruction when it is called obstructive apnea, or it could be due to some kind of loss of control from the brain or due to some other long standing problems where there is absence of airflow and absence of breathing, which we call as central apneas, and there could be specific patterns of breathing where we move from being shallow and then slightly faster, breathing deeper and then again becoming shallow and stopping, and that kind of a pattern is what we refer to as Cheyne-Stokes respiration.